Okay, so uh, this is the second video of classification of elements. You are well aware of the first video. Now moving forward from the second video, if there is any doubt you can always ask me. But moving forward with the second from the second video, I would like to say that there is a concept called valency. You have to learn about the trends, no? So you have to learn about valency, that is true. You have to learn the trend of the valency. Now if you go into the trend of valency and try to learn it, I'll focus this in my what we can say book, so that I can show you the predictable and teach you about the trend of the valency. Okay, so if you go along the period, the valency is 1, then the valency is 2. Again, here you can see the valency is 1, 2. Here the valency is 3. The valency is 4. The valency is here 2 and 3, 5. So valency is 3. Here valency is 2 and 4. Valence electron is 6. So valency is 2. Valence electron is 7. So valency is 1. And here valency is 0. So valency at first increases, then decreases along the period, and along the group the valency remains the same. Here if you see 2 plus 5, 7 valence electron, 2 plus 5, 7 valence electron. So valency will be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Valency will be 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Valency will be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. In this way, here also the same thing. Here, however, remember in transition elements and in inner transition elements that you have learned in the previous video, the valency little bit varies here and there due to half fillness or full fillness or stuff. Stuff like that. Okay, the valency little bit varies, that we sure do know about that. But yes, valency, the trend of valency is this. I hope you have learned this in class 10 and you know what the trend of valency is. Then comes the trend of atomic volume. This is the first trend you have learned. So increases and then decreases along the period, and this happens what remains same along the group. Atomic volume. Now talking about atomic volume, what is atomic volume? First you have to understand. Atomic volume is defined as the volume occupied by 1 mole of atoms of the element at its melting point in solid state. So atomic volume is defined as the volume occupied by 1 mole of atoms by the element at its melting point. When the substance will melt or the element will melt, at that time how much the 1 mole of atom takes up the volume, that is known as the atomic volume. Or you know that atomic density of the atom is equals to mass by volume. So atomic volume can also be equals to mass by or gram molecular mass by density. Now you must be wondering why this is happening. See, actually fact is this: at its melting point means what? When it is about to melt, okay, it is just about to melt from its solid state to its liquid state. There is no intermolecular space between them, right or wrong? So intermolecular space will just be achieved now, okay, so that it can convert into liquid state. At that time 1 mole of atom will be very closely packed to each other, and hence the entire 1 mole of atom will take up the entire space available, and 1 mole of atom means gram molecular mass. So the 1 mole of atom will have gram molecular mass, no extra space and anything in between. So atomic volume is equal to gram molecular mass. Now if you divide it by the entire density of the thing, then you get the volume of atom. Okay, so I hope that you have understood what atomic volume is. Now if you go into the trend of it, atomic volume decreases along the period. Obviously, atomic volume decreases along the period, then increases. Okay, and in moving down the group, it just increases. So if you try to plot this in the graph, I'll show you a graph. Look at this graph. So when you look at this graph, the atomic volume at first, here it is. Okay, so helium. Okay, now the atomic volume, now you see along the period it is decreasing, then again increasing, then again decreasing. So in this way it will go. Okay, change in atomic volume with atomic number, because if you go increasing atomic number, if this side is increasing atomic number, no, okay, then atomic number will increase 1 2 3 4 like this. So when atomic number will increase, atomic volume will at first increase and then decrease, and hence this type of curve is obtained. Okay, first decreasing, then increasing, first decreasing, then increasing, first decreasing, then increasing. So see, along the period it decreased and then increased. Okay, so sodium and potassium are in same group, so it is see, helium, lithium, sodium, potassium, potassium, rubidium, cesium are in same group. So along the group it is increasing. But when you change from one group to another group, it means in the same group from one element to another element, if you change, you run along a period and come here. So along the period, at first it increases and then decreases. At first it increases, then decreases. So this is the trend of the atomic volume. So we can remember atomic volume with the valency only. Valency also at first increases, then decreases. Atomic also at first increases, then decreases, increases, then decreases, increases, then decreases. And along the period, valency remains same, but atomic volume increases, because the size of the atom also will increase. No, so atomic volume will increase. But in case of along the period, if you go at first, the size at first decreases. There are lots of things about atomic size which you'll learn. When I'll tell you the reason of the atomic size, then only I will tell you the reason of atomic volume also. Or you can automatically understand that at that time. Now see, we will learn the atomic size trend. But before learning the atomic size trend, okay, you should understand that atom is too small to be isolated. And due to the wave mechanical model of the atom, it does not allow us to have a well-defined, size or boundary. I told you that the probability of finding the electrons may go up to, infinite. That I have told you if you remember the atomic structure chapter. So that is the thing. So the boundary doesn't have a confined, it doesn't have a confined boundary. Okay. So as because there is no confined boundary, you cannot find. Okay. So what to say, atomic size, probable atomic size. So now what happens that when there is bonding, there is another reason. So at first is wave mechanical model problem. What is the problem? The probability of finding the electrons. P means probability of finding the electrons. Electrons will be very not be confined. So you cannot confine the atom to a particular boundary. That is the first thing. Then atoms cannot be isolated, cannot be easily isolated. Second thing, then size of the atom also changes from bonding state to bonding state. From one bonding state to another bonding state, size of the atoms changes. Size of atom changes. So these are the problems which helps us to, which doesn't help us to measure the atomic size. So to measure the atomic size, there are three radiuses that we measure, three atomic radius that we measure. We use a technique, and number one is known as covalent radius. Number two is known as metallic radius. And number 3 is known as van der Waals radius, I think. Yes, van der Waals radius. Now I will use my book's picture to explain it. Why? To save time. Because if I start drawing, there will be a lot of time required. Now as I said that I will use the book's diagram to do it. I think this is the orientation of the video. Okay, yeah. So now as I said that I will use the book's diagram to do it. Now this is covalent radius. What is covalent radius? Let me explain first. Suppose imagine this atom and this atom has done covalent bonding. When there is covalent bonding, there is overlapping of the orbitals. Okay, so you will learn this in the bonding chapter. Suppose there is s orbital, the s orbital overlaps with the s orbital, or suppose there is a p orbital overlaps with the s orbital in this way. Okay, so you also know from your class 10 concept that suppose valence electrons are there, when bonding will occur, it will also bring its electron and will share. So there is overlapping. So little bit what happens, the atoms little bit enter with its shell in the other atom. So they are very close to each other. So now what you do is you calculate the entire thing, okay, and you divide it with 2, so then you get this, and again you divide it with 2, you get this. So this up to from here to here, this becomes the covalent radius of this atom. Suppose of N2 molecule, O2 molecule, H2 molecule, N2 molecule, O2 molecule, you will measure covalent radius because you have no other option to measure. Okay, so what it has been found by X-ray diffraction experiments, by throwing X-ray through it, and what it is written is 1/2 of the distance between the centers of the nuclei of 2 similar atoms bonded by a single covalent bond. So R covalent or covalent radius is half of intermolecular distance between the 2 bonded atoms. So this is the covalent radius. Now what is metallic radius? There is van der Waals radius. Van der Waals radius I am coming. Metallic radius, they have not given the diagram, but metal remains like this. Is one metal atom, another metal atom, another metal atom, closely packed to each other. From the center to center, you measure the distance and do it half, you will get this much. So if you compare the metallic radius with the covalent radius, in case of metallic radius, suppose this is the metallic atom, okay, from here to here you will measure and do it half. Okay, so you will get this much. So what do you think, metallic radius is greater or covalent radius is greater? Obviously metallic radius is greater, because in metallic radius the metal atoms have not entered inside the other atom. Here it happened, so automatically it will come less and it will come more. So metallic radius is more than the in size than that of more in size than that of the covalent radius. Metallic radius is more in size than that of the covalent radius. So metallic radius may be defined as the half of the internuclear distance between the 2 adjacent atoms in the metallic lattice. So I hope that you understand this. Now moving forward with van der Waals radius. Van der Waals radius is, suppose what is it? It may be defined as the half of the internuclear distance between 2 adjacent atoms of the same element belonging to nearest neighboring molecules of the same subatomic solid state. Suppose certain things are there in solid state, okay, not in gaseous state. Gaseous state, it will increase and decrease because molecules will move away. In solid state they are there. Suppose this is a molecule, this is a molecule. From this center to this center, adjacent atoms of 2 different molecules, you measure the half of that, then you will get the van der Waals radius. This is the van der Waals radius. So what do you think, van der Waals radius is the highest? Van der Waals radius will come automatically according to the definition only. Van der Waals radius is the highest, yes or no? Van der Waals radius is the highest, and metallic radius is second highest, and lowest is covalent radius. So I hope that you have understood what is van der Waals radius, when to measure it. Okay, you have to measure van der Waals radius for those which remain in solid state but have van der Waals forces of attraction between them. Okay, I'll teach you about van der Waals forces of attraction in the chapter states of matter, or you have already learned it if you are seeing a video later on. So yeah, so that is the thing. So when you go along the period, now let us understand the trend of sizes. Let me use my book. Okay, so when you go along the period, what will happen? At first you will see these are metals, so you will measure the metallic radius. Then you go. Here you will measure what? Covalent radius for nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, all this. Okay, here you will measure covalent radius. Here you will लगभग measure mediocre of metallic and covalent radius, but from metallic radius it is shifting towards the covalent radius. So metallic radius is greater, covalent radius is smaller, so atomic size is decreasing, and hence at last what happens, you are measuring of noble gases. For noble gases neither you can measure covalent radius because they don't do covalent bonding, neither you can measure metallic radius, so you will measure van der Waals radius for them, and van der Waals radius is the highest, so this is the biggest atom. So in a group this is the biggest atom. So at first the atomic size decreases, and in the last group it increases. Why? Because from the metallic radius you will shift towards covalent radius and then go into the van der Waals radius. So like I was saying, when you move along the period, what will happen is first you are measuring the metallic radius, and then you go and you continuously from the metallic radius keeps on decreasing. Now metallic radius decreases. Why? Because the size of the atoms becomes smaller, because it enters in the same shell. Like you remember class 10 ka explanation. What was class 10 ka explanation? The electron enters in the same shell, so and one proton increases inside the nucleus, and electrons enter inside the same shell, so the effective pull increases the electrostatic force of attraction, hence atoms become smaller and smaller. So metallic radius becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. Then we start measuring the covalent radius, and covalent radius is automatically smaller than that of metallic radius, so it will be much more smaller, and then at last we will measure the van der Waals radius, which will be the biggest atom. So this is the trend of atomic size. Now I hope you can understand that why atomic volume shows the same trend as that of atomic size. So this is the thing. Now we will go into the next video to understand the other trends.